Now we should be live. Sorry about that. I'm a little bit under the weather. Let me give it a few seconds to load here. I got shit internet, alright? So usually when I'm paused at the start for a few minutes, I'm just waiting for it to say that people are in here. You know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't even show if people are in here at all or not. So that's all. And my internet's really bad today. It disconnected before. But we're live now, I think. So again, this is another one. This is another Friday self-development video off the top of the dome, off the head. I just like to go live on YouTube and rant about life, rant about different topics of conversation. Okay, now I'm for sure live. Now I'm for sure live. Had to message somebody quick. Okay, now I can see you guys in the chat. We're good to go now. All right. So, welcome to a Capital Hungry Friday self-development live video. And this is going to be a follow-up of the last webinar that was about death and living. And this webinar itself was inspired by a recent video I watched on YouTube, which was an animation of a speech done by philosopher Alan Watts, philosopher and professor Alan Watts. Okay? Just give me a second. I think I disconnected. No, we're still good. Okay, so anyways, let's go back to the topic of conversation. I think the connection is good. It should hold for 30 to 40 minutes to let me get this off my chest. So I recently watched this video by this channel on YouTube called After School, which they animate a lot of speeches or a lot of content done by philosophers, psychologists, economists, doctors, and so forth, right? And this one was specifically an animation done on a speech by Alan Watts. And it was about life, living, and time. And something really stuck with me and genuinely changed my entire perspective of how I observe time and how I look at the past and the future, right? And this really goes in hand. This really goes in hand with what I was talking about in the webinar about death last week, right? So if you go watch that webinar about death last week, this is sort of going to complement each other, okay? So if you watched the webinar last week, you would know that the main point I was trying to make is that the most precious thing we have in our life throughout the history of mankind has been life itself, right? The reason for that is because life itself has a specific time limit to it and it is not infinite, which makes it extremely precious because through the entirety of humanity, man has never been able to conquer death. Man has never been able to truly extend his life or go against the natural order of how things have worked since the beginning of time. Every single person lives and eventually dies, right? We all understand that. And the point of the last webinar was to more focus on and reflect on the optimistic side of life, that understanding life is so finite and precious that we should take advantage of it and live the experience to its full advantage by trying to develop ourselves in a fashion and carry ourselves in a fashion to develop our character and live a very fulfilling life, right? And the main talking points of that were focusing on developing ourselves to have the best potential body as possible that you envision in your mind, having the best health possible with what you consume mentally and physically, having both a strong biological health in terms of what you consume physically, as well as having a strong mental health too, and being mentally healthy, right? Also looking at in our modern society, living a fulfilling life through developing your finances, which developing your wealth and finances will come after you develop a skill set and knowledge in a specific field. But it was mainly about enjoying every single minute, but being conscious about how we actively spend our time and making sure we spend our time, because it's extremely precious, in a productive way that brings us value, that makes us feel fulfilled, that makes us feel proud of what we are doing, rather than falling for that destructive path, right? So this is going to be a continuation off of that. And the continuation off of this is that there is something very important where people become stagnant while they're trying to improve themselves, and that is wasting a lot of time focusing on either dwelling about the past and past mistakes you made, things you wish you could have done, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? And also worrying about the inevitable future, okay? A lot of people will bring themselves and create man-made stress, man-made anxiety, and will also leave them in this very paralyzed state by, again, dwelling on the past or also worrying about the future that is yet to come, okay? And I want to explain something to you that I learned from Alan Watts through this video that completely changed my perspective of reality as well as the past and future, okay? Number one, nobody in the world or through humanity has said that life is supposed to be a journey, that there is a destination that we are meant to reach. Life at the end of the day is not a journey. There is no destination for us to reach. Life is nothing but an experience with the short amount of time that we have on this earth. Remember, our life is the most precious thing possible because it only lasts so long, and out of all the amazing advancements man has made in society, from technological advancements, from advancements in science, health, so forth, man has never been able to conquer death, right? So that means that life is extremely precious, and that at the end of the day, there is no end goal. There is no destination we have to reach. Life is nothing but an experience, something that we play, something that we are actively a part of, something that is going to keep moving and cycling through the process of life and death, whether we like it or not, whether you're sad, whether you're happy. This cycle is never going to stop, okay? And what he said really sat with me. And number one, it was that life is not a journey, life is an experience. That may seem very cliche, but we're going to get into more detail about the psychology behind it, right? Okay? Let me hide the chat because we got some fucking Bible humpers. All right. So anyways, this is not talking about religion. This is talking about human psychology, the mind, the brain, life itself. This is not talking about guessing games of what may happen after death, because nobody knows. All right. Now, number two, really listen to this concept. Both the past as well as the future are not reality. Both the past and the future are man-made concepts and truly do not exist if you're focusing on reality. The past is made up of events that were once the present that have already said and gone. And the future is made up of events in the present that are yet to come, right? The only thing that exists in reality every single minute and every single day that you are experiencing is the present, okay? Please wrap your head around this, because what this means is that if the past is nothing but a concept that humans have man-made, that is a collection of previous present experiences, and that the future is nothing but a man-made concept that is the potential anticipation of events that have happened in the present that can lead to this future, nobody truly knows, right? An example of this: let's just say that you are trying to plan the future of your life. You might think that if you, in these current events in the present, for example, you want a really good job, or let's just say you have bigger dreams. You want to be a CEO of a company. That means in the present, you might act through various events, through various types of behavioral patterns, such as going to school and studying really hard, such as trying to find a good job, trying to network, learning different skill sets to eventually attain that future that you want to be the CEO. But none of that is promised. None of that is guaranteed. You only have the anticipation that if you do these XYZ events, you will go on to that next step and potentially be a CEO. But it's a maybe, right? Through our universe, all of that is an absolute maybe. That's why you have millions and millions of people in society who try to become professional athletes and do all the right steps within their present time, thinking that they can become the professional athlete, or who try to start a business, or who try to pursue a certain career, but they end up failing. Because at the end of the day, the future is uncertain and unknown because we can only be involved in the present. You don't have a way to look into the future. There's no possible way to do that. And there's no possible way to go back in time and change something that you did. So the past and future are nothing but man-made concepts of something that was once the present and something that can potentially be the present to come. Okay? This is extremely important because, number one, we understand that life is the most precious commodity, asset, most valuable thing that can possibly exist through humanity. Nothing, not diamonds, not oil, not any type of technology, not any type of gold, nothing is more valuable than life itself. So if something is so valuable and rare, it should be nurtured. It should be taken care of. Correct? Number two, the past as well as the future do not exist in reality. In reality, every single minute that goes by, you're involved in the present, right? So if life is so precious, if life should be nurtured and taken care of, then why are people spending so much of their time dwelling on the past or worrying about the future? It is absolutely useless. You are trying to think of potential destinations to reach that are not confirmed, that are absolutely unknown, that at the end of the day, you cannot guarantee you will reach that destination. And at the end of the day, what is the outcome of reaching that potential destination, right? So all we can do is look at life like an experience and be involved in the present. The reason why I'm saying this is I used to waste a lot of time. I used to get really depressed. I used to get a lot of anxiety, either number one, dwelling on mistakes I made in the past and things that I can no longer change, whether it be mistakes I made, whether it be opportunities I missed, whether it be anything along the lines that you would just be dwelling on those previous events where you are not living in that moment and you are wasting your precious time. Okay? Or number two, I would be worrying and thinking about death, or worrying and thinking about a future yet to come, worrying about so many things and so many different possibilities of negative outcomes in futures that are not guaranteed, that have not happened, that I am just mentally wasting my time and energy on, right? So what happens is when a person is too focused on the past or too focused on the future and not involved in the present, they are truly wasting this precious life and this gift of life that is so absolutely rare. Life is a gift. That's why they call it the present. That's why you should be involved in the present. Okay? So, what I want people to do is very similar to the other webinars, is have a very good understanding of time and understand that our time is very valuable and precious and you will never get it back. The past is nothing but a man-made concept. The future is nothing about a man-made concept. The future is not our current reality. The past is not our current reality. The past does not dictate the future, and the future did not dictate the past. Only the present dictates both, right? This current present moment right now in this webinar will eventually be the past, but it was the events that I did in this present time that creates the past, right? And this current events that I'm doing in this webinar to give advice to people can eventually impact their future. But the focus must be on the current time, on the current moment, and absolutely using your time effectively every single minute and every single hour, right? Now, this doesn't mean that you should work yourself to the bone, that you should not enjoy life, that you should not have any type of pleasure at all. But remember that just because you should be focusing on the moment and focusing now does not mean you should indulge yourself in short-term satisfactions. Because if you indulge yourself in short-term satisfactions, you're still going to be destroying this beautiful life that you're supposed to be taking care of, right? So with the certain period of time we have on this earth, we should nurture it. We should try to experience as much as possible. So what that means is any type of fear, uncertainty, or doubt that has come from your past should not impact your present because it's non-existent. It's irrelevant. It's not part of current reality, right? And any type of fears and doubts about your potential future should also not interrupt your present time. It hasn't happened yet. There's no confirm of it. It's not a part of our current reality. Our current reality is now, in this moment, in this very second, constantly passing by, right? And what are you noticing that the majority of people in society are doing with their present time? They're doing nothing but wasting it, deteriorating it, and using that valuable, precious time and putting it into nothing but modern day consumption. Where modern day consumption, both physically, mentally, and financially, does nothing but deteriorate your health, deteriorate your mentality, and deteriorate your finances. That's why you can go check the statistics. We can see in North America, people are fatter than ever. Levels of heart disease and other illnesses are higher than ever, right? You can also see that most people live paycheck to paycheck. They are not in a financially stable condition. You can also see that various mental illness is through the roof. Depression is through the roof, dependency on opioids, dependency on antidepressants, suicides, and so forth. And of course, the pandemic was a contributing factor to this, but the pandemic only accelerated something that was already a problem. You know what I mean? The pandemic just accelerated that whole process. All of those figures were already going downhill. People's money, people's health, people's mentality, it was already going downhill. You know what I mean? You can see the studies, you can see the changes over the years. And it really comes at the end of the day that nobody appreciates this precious life and nobody is truly trying to experience life in the moment. The meaning of life, in my opinion, is not to reach a destination or to reach a goal, it's to simply be alive. And this is what I learned from Alan Watts, as well as other psychologists such as Jordan Peterson, or even on a different perspective from more of the negative side of Nietzsche, is that life is simply an experience that is meant to be lived. Simply living is life itself. That is the meaning of life. It is nothing more complicated than that, right? But in the modern society, to simply live means that you should be nurturing this very precious life. So I suggest that anytime you are dwelling on the past, remember that it doesn't exist anymore. It's irrelevant and it doesn't impact your future. It is not the current reality. And anytime you are worrying about a potential future that is yet to come, that also doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is what's going on right now. And what you can address through self-awareness is what you're doing in the present. The most important time is worrying about things that don't exist. Right? What happens is when people dwell on the past or when they worry about the future and they create this man-made stress and anxiety on top of already being stressed from their job, on top of already being stressed from having to pay bills or having money issues, on top of already having other types of health issues, now they're even more inclined, both mentally and physically, to fall victim into the vicious cycle of consumerism through the modern society and further deteriorate their life. Okay? So I don't want to make this webinar too long. Okay? I don't want to make this concept go over people's head. But life is nothing but an experience. We are all going to die one day. Life, meaning life is extremely precious and valuable. Okay? So we should do whatever we can in the present time with every single minute, every single hour to nurture this precious life and to be a part of life, to be involved in every single second and minute and appreciate it, nurture it until the day we die, because that's all we can simply do. Do you understand? There's nothing more expected from you. There's nothing more asked from you. There's no blueprint. There's no end goal. There's no end destination. You have to deduct what living a healthy, nurturing life would be, and you have to take action every single present moment to develop that life you want to live. Okay? So again, this is a follow-up of the webinar last week that was about death. So make sure you watch that, as death is used as a primary inspirational factor for me and a motivational factor for me, and I'm very optimistic regarding the viewpoint of death. Okay? And also, you have to understand that worrying about the past, worrying about the future, irrelevant, useless, waste of your time. There is no real past. There is no real future in reality. The reality is simply only the present. Okay? And I want you to take every single moment within the present and simply be involved, experience it, but also actively think, how can I continue to nurture this life? How can I improve my health further? Maybe I need to stop eating all this fucking junk food. Maybe I need to stop using all these social media apps. Maybe I need to start going on a jog, running, and exercising. Maybe instead of mindless consumption, I'm going to start writing a journal. I'm going to start actually reflecting about my day, being involved in every single waking moment. I actually want to experience this life. I want to play this life. Do you understand? So yeah, I don't want to make this too long. Someone said, bro, wear a shirt. Listen, if you look like this, you wouldn't want to wear a shirt either, but you probably don't. You probably look like a guy named Bob. So you should take the advice instead. Okay? So if anybody has any questions, we're going to go through a quick question and answer period. Otherwise, I just want to keep it pretty short and sweet. Let's see what I missed here. Someone was talking about the end destination is heaven. I don't like the religion is the monetization of people's faith. I talked about that in the death webinar. Someone said I had a different image of you in my mind, like a skinny guy. My bad. Shazad, you can imagine whatever the fuck you want. It's your life, but the reality is, I look the way I do, all right? I look like a fucking warrior. One question, what's your daily routine? All right, so my daily routine is I like to go to sleep pretty early and I like to wake up pretty early, right? So usually I will wake up around 6 to 7 a.m. Eastern, and then instantly drink some water, wake up, do 30 minutes of fasted cardio, and then go do a capital hungry New York scalping session where I'll also be day trading myself and running that session, which is a part of my business in the capital hungry service. After that, and I don't eat anything. I like to do fasted cardio, fasted workout in the morning, just because I'm trying to lose some fat here. But anyways, so I'll wake up, I won't eat anything, just drink some water, do some fasted cardio on the bike in the morning for 15 to 30 minutes, depending on my energy levels. Then after that, we do our New York scalping session within the Capital Hungry private channel, and I'll be looking for trades. We'll be calling out trades. That will run for depending 1 to 2 hours, depending what's going on in the markets. After that is done, then I go to the gym for a couple of hours. You know what I mean? I like to do various weight training. You don't have to do weight training. You could go do whatever you want in terms of physical activity, right? After the gym, I'll come back and I already have meals prepped that I cook on Sunday, and I'll usually have a protein shake, have a meal, usually watch some random shit and have a little bit of entertainment, and then I go back into reading a book, which I'm currently reading one of Nietzsche's psychology books, you know what I mean? So I'm currently going through that book. Then I'll be reading for like maybe an hour after I eat and everything, and around 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, I'll start answering Telegram messages, from Capital Hungry members and so forth about checking trading plans, checking analysis, questions about fundamentals and technicals and so forth. I'll answer Capital Hungry emails. I'll do a little bit of social media advertising and posting on various like platforms. And then at the end of New York session, anywhere from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern, I do a market update webinar for Capital Hungry for analysis, fundamentals, and technicals and trade ideas to come overnight. After that, I have another meal with some water. And then no, I forgot something. Before the webinar and before the webinar and after answering questions, I have another meal. Then I do the webinar, chill out for a little bit, like another 30 minutes, then have the last meal of the day, and I stop eating by around 8 p.m. Eastern because my digestive system used to get fucked because I had this misconception that to gain weight, you had to eat all day. And I was fucking eating up until I have to go to sleep. I would wake up, instantly start eating, and like was really neglecting my digestive health and not really giving my digestive system any type of break. So that's like the reason why I don't eat for the few hours when I wake up and like stay fasted, and also why I stop eating around 8 p.m. Eastern or 9 p.m. Eastern, which is usually around 3 hours before I sleep, right? Then I'll check Telegram chats, answer any questions, and do send like, oh wait, I already said the webinar. Then I'll send answer any Telegram chats, emails and shit, so forth. If anything else is lingering, then I'll usually watch something for about another 30 minutes to an hour and go to sleep, rinse and repeat 5 days a week. You know what I mean? So that's about it. It's not like anything crazy. On the weekends, I'll usually hang out with my girlfriend. Saturday is a day off from the gym. Sunday, we're back to work with Capital Hungry weekly flow. There's more webinars on Sunday because we do a psychology webinar, weekly recap webinar, and market update. And then on Sunday, I also do my meal prepping. And the only difference during the week is that Sunday I do my meal prepping, and Wednesday in the evening after the market update webinar, I'll do another round of cooking. Okay? Yeah. And this is also including that on Mondays, I do the YouTube stream. Wednesdays, I do the New York scalping session. And Fridays, I do this self-development live video. So like, what time is it right now? So right now it's 3 p.m., right? I just like, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather and shit today, but I'm like, we just finished all our Capital Hungry shit, all that stuff. I was just chilling out stuff because it's Friday. I did this self-development live video. I'm probably gonna go eat a meal and then go read my book and shit and continue on the day and then see my girlfriend later. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's a typical day for me. I get pretty sufficient sleep now. I've really matured a lot. I went through my 2-3 years of burning myself out and really being a workaholic and being like, oh, you only need 4 hours of sleep, waking up early, going to sleep late, trying to grind all day. It just becomes counterproductive after a while. You need to have a good balance of being productive and using your mind and body accordingly, and bringing healthy stress and tension to your mind. Whether in the example for me, the healthy stress and tension from my mind is when I'm using it to do analysis or webinars, or when I'm trading, or when I'm reading a book. And the healthy stress and tension for my body is when I'm going to the gym, I'm doing exercise. And also, what I'm going to start incorporating, which I haven't done yet, is 15 to 30 minutes of yoga and breathing exercises every single day. So I'm going to start incorporating that as well, but I have not started doing that yet. And meditation, I'm not much of a meditator. I have way too many thoughts are always blasting off in my mind. I have other ways to like relax and reset my mentality rather than meditation, but maybe in the future it's something I will dabble into. But first, I'm going to introduce yoga, which is, again, I feel like if I can really master my breathing and learn how to control my emotions through better breathing as well, then that can translate into meditation of having a better control of my thoughts. You know what I mean? Yeah, you guys see that? Yeah, shoulder vein right there. All right, everybody. That's it. We're going to call it a day here. No, I am not vegan. All right. So remember, main summary points. Number one, there's nothing more precious than life itself because we're all going to die at the end of the day. So use that as motivation and inspiration to live the best life possible. Number two, what do I mean by best life? Well, if life is so precious and rare, we should nurture it. So the best life would be nurturing the life we have. Number three, the only thing that exists in reality is this present moment right now. The past is nothing but a concept made by man. Dwelling on the past is useless. And the future is something that is uncontrollable, unknowable. Yes, you can have potential anticipation of what may come in the future, but worrying, stressing on the future is useless. Focus all your time, energy, and effort on the present. Live life like an experience and enjoy it. Nurture your life and live a fulfilling life that you're going to be proud of the day you have to die. All right? So, all right, everybody, take care. Have a great Friday. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys for the YouTube people on Monday for our market update webinar. Private chat members, I'll see you on Sunday for the normal shit.